you're looking for a new job, or you're just curious about what the hoodie-wearing person sitting next to you does all day, you may find yourself asking the question, what do software engineers even do? Before I started coding, this was also a question I had. From an outside perspective, you look at a software engineer and it's just someone who's sitting at a computer for hours on end with some tabs open to Stack Overflow, some tabs open to XKCD, and of course some tabs waiting on the newest release of Gears of War. I'm going to break it down super simply into 5 main categories of what software developers do, and you guessed it, we're going to start off with coding. Now, there are a ton of different programming languages, everything from JavaScript to Python to Go. All of these different languages are used to program and code different things. They're generally optimized to be better for certain things than other things, and that is why people generally use JavaScript for stuff like building websites and Python for stuff like machine learning. Now, if you're wondering what software developers do in general, this could be anything from making a button on a website work to making the app on your phone run more efficiently. Software engineers can cover a wide range of different things and work in almost every industry. If there's a website for that product, it's likely that there's a software engineer behind the scenes making sure that every button works and that all of the requests are filled. Now, you may be wondering, do software engineers always write perfect code that works on the first run? We all clearly know the answer is no. Even if you've never written a line of code in your life, you've probably gone to a website that was super slow, or that just didn't work, or got to broken links. These are all just human examples of errors and mistakes. So that leads us into the second biggest responsibility of a software developer: read code. Whether this be your code or other people's code, a huge part of being a software engineer is to read and test code. At a lot of companies, they actually have code reviews set up so that before I push my code into production, as you might have heard in popular memes, I'll have other people look at the code first so they can make sure that I'm not going to break anything in the overarching product. Now, there are also a lot of popular testing frameworks or tools that people use to test their code and make sure that they're not going to break anything and that they actually function the way that they're supposed to. It's pretty clear to most people that on a big app like Spotify or Facebook, there's hundreds or sometimes even thousands of engineers working on a single product at once, which leads us into our third main thing that software engineers do, and that is using version control systems to push the code that they've written or reviewed into the main version of the code that most people are using. So in general, a version control system that a lot of people use is Git, and this makes it super easy to pull from the main source of truth that people are coding on, add your own code to it, and then eventually push it back up so that people or consumers can use and see your code in the real app. To sum it up, version control is just a really great, easy way for a bunch of people to work on the same project at once without interfering with other people's work, or, crashing production. Now, you may be wondering, how do all of these coders just know where to put their code and how to make things work? And this all happens in the fourth responsibility of coders, and that is planning code architecture and, in general, following conventions. So this can mean anything from people at a startup building up the very beginning architecture of their code base, or it can mean something like a senior engineer at a FAANG company deciding on how they want to build out architecture for a new product. The idea for most of this structuring and planning is that if there's a structure to our code, it'll be much easier in the future to go and add on to it, and also to onboard new people into the product so that they can understand the overall structure a lot more easily and then be able to navigate the code base by themselves. Now, this very last responsibility for coders is possibly the least favorite out of everyone I've talked to, and that is using a ticketing system. What I mean by a ticketing system is just a way to track all the work you've done and communicate it easily to other people, in particular your boss or project manager. If you're a software developer, you're going to be using these tickets and completing whatever feature or bug is on them. Let's say I get a ticket that says, okay, we need a new button on this page. Once I complete the ticket, I can mark the ticket as completed. Now, of course, there's multiple tools to do this and multiple ways to mark the tickets as completed. But in general, you receive a ticket with a feature or a bug that needs to get done. You finish the ticket and you submit it or post it somewhere. It gets looked at and then finally put into the finish pile if you've met all the specs. So using ticketing systems like this is also a big part of software engineering because it just communicates to everyone what tasks are done and what tasks are going to be done in the future. I hope you found this video helpful, and now if someone asks you what does a software engineer do, you'll have a pretty good idea about how software engineers spend 90% of their days. If you like this video, make sure to go ahead and leave a comment down below. They mean the world to me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for watching.